This is the Woodbridge Conservation Commission regular meeting, February 16th, 2017. As always, we start with public comment. Do we have a member of the public to speak?
Hello. Sit amongst all our Boy Scout visitors. It's wonderful. My name is Sheila McCrevin, and I just wanted to offer a public comment to you guys. I watch you on the YouTube channel, so I've been keeping up, and I saw that you were discussing a property on Enoch Drive, and I think I heard you guys talking about it, but I like to sometimes go down in the vault in the town clerk's office and look at old land records. And I came across a lease for the property that was written in 1785 and continues to stay on the land records. And it's referenced when you look up when the town bought the property at 31 Enoch, you see a reference to a lease. It's a 999-year lease that was entered into in 1785 here in Amity. And I was able to take the original document, which is this longhand script, which is kind of hard to read. And I spent a little time. Yeah, would you guys like to see it?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Actually, this. Okay, so you sit down and look at it, and you can pass it around, okay? I think I'm going to have to give you copies to put into your minutes, maybe, at the gift shop, yeah. We've got a comedian. Anyway, so I went through it, and I was able to decipher some of the people involved. So I put together a little document for you. I thought I would give it to you as public comment, put it in the minutes if you like. There's what I call a cast of characters. Some of these are Revolutionary War soldiers. I'm going to pass that around to them, but I'll get you a copy as well.
That's fair.
And they're in the cemetery at East Side Cemetery. So I thought you guys would be interested in the history of it because I know when you're conserving the property, you're not the only ones to have been interested in conserving property. We have hundreds of years of people in Woodbridge wanting to conserve that property. So I thank you guys for the work that you do. And I hope in 999 years or whatever, 700, whatever's left of that, there will still be people in Woodbridge doing the same kind of job you guys do. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'll get you a copy for your minutes.
Yes, that'd be great. Are there any other members of the public that would like to speak?
Hi, I'm David Lober, 35 Wapelog Road. I went on the golf club walk a few weeks ago, and I just had one comment here. I wanted to correct the draft minutes that I have here. I made a comment, and it was recorded as my expressing concern for the cost of maintaining the property as it stands or as a golf course. That's partially correct. What my intent was, and I'm not sure whether it came across, was that whatever disposition is made of that property, whatever use is made of that property, there will be a cost involved. So it's not like whatever we do to it is free. And I think people should be aware of that because ultimately, the town people will have to make a decision about what to do with it, and there will be some costs involved, most likely.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you. And thank you for coming to the walk. Anybody else from the public that would like to speak? Okay. We will move on now to the review and approve minutes from our January 19th regular meeting. And I hope everyone did.
I've not seen them. I'm trying to get them off the website. So I can just not vote on.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of January 19th. Is there a second?
I second it.
All right. Any discussion about the minutes from January 19th? Did you print them out, Frank?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you want
There you go.
to refresh yourself briefly?
Really quickly here.
Make sure the attendance was correct. I think that was something that had happened in the past. We had the wrong
Looks
listing.
okay.
All right.
Thank you.
If there's no discussion, all in favor of the minutes?
Aye.
All right, that's unanimous. Next on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes of the February 4th, 2017 special meeting. And that was our walk at the country club. And as Mr. Lober mentioned, he did speak at that. I know some of you didn't get a chance to come, sadly. It was a very good walk. But Frank and Lauren, you were there. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
You can vote, yes.
I read them, but I wasn't there. Does that matter?
No,
No,
you
it's
can.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm answering it.
Yeah. Is there any other discussion for the February special meeting minutes? All right, all in favor?
February 4th.
February
Did you
4th.
say second? Yes, February 4th, right.
February 4th, 2017. Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't at the meeting.
Okay. And I'll also just make note that I have a typo on this agenda. Item number 2 had minutes from January 19th, 2016. Should be 2017.
Oh, okay.
Apparently it wasn't critical enough for everybody to catch that one.
No.
All right. Next on our agenda tonight is an update on our 2017 trail walks. The most recent one being at the country club. We had what I would consider our biggest turnout so far. Probably 24 at least came
By
out. And we started up by the country club clubhouse.
I think we can credit Lauren for that.
Yes, Lauren did an excellent job getting the
Recruiting.
troops
PR.
and getting the PR out
Oh,
there.
good, good.
It's a pat on the back, Lauren.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
It was great.
We had a good walk, right?
Yes.
So we walked the whole course. We walked.
Especially that it was that long and everything showed up.
It turned out to be longer than I anticipated. So originally my expectation was about
It
4
was-
miles. In the end, Joe Dye had a watch that had a GPS and it clocked in over 5 miles.
Wow.
And it was a walk from the one end of one green as we went to hole 1, hole 2, hole 3, we walked the whole thing. Midway through, we lost about half the crew. So we went from about 25 down to about 12.
People got cold.
It was
wasn't-
cool.
It was a
cool
long,
day.
it was
People
cold
got
and
Chris,
cold.
you
It
windy.
was
wasn't it was just that people got cold. Yeah.
It was a very windy day as well.
And it was windy.
And there were lots
and
of
there was
geese. Goose poop. Yes.
Evidence of geese. And geese.
Abundant goose poop
Yes, abundant.
out there. And, I had never had an opportunity to walk the course, so I thought it was enlightening. And a few comments that I heard from other members of the public as well is that it really opened their eyes, and what they had previously conceived as the future of the property is now really changed in their mind for having walked the property. So I would like to run another walk on the country club, probably in April or May. May is probably got the better chance for weather. April can still be a little mushy and whatnot. But Frank and Lauren, did you want to?
Might want to do May. Yeah, we might want to do one in May. The weather will be warmer, but yeah, there were some notable characteristics. Most of them are in the minutes about the architecture, the land itself. It's rolling land. It's not very flat. It'd be difficult to develop without moving a lot of dirt and that kind of thing. For farming, it doesn't look like the soil's all that great. Someone made a comment about the soil, and they said it wouldn't be that great for farming because it's mostly sandy and it's not that well enriched. So there's two things that two possibilities that aren't really
Realistic.
going to be effective. So other than that,
And then
Jason
there was
pretty much covered it all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a piece of the land that had sort of returned to the wild in
Yeah.
quotes, and that had that you said the
The invasives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
if
was
it goes
covered.
wild, it'll just go to invasives.
Yeah.
You're right about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason made that point.
Um,
So,
Yeah.
so managing it's gonna be a
It's so-
challenge
yeah.
to keep down the invasives if we just leave it to nature.
And that was a big concern of those that attended
Yeah.
as well. Is
Right.
that you can't just let it go. We need to have a plan, and in my opinion, we need to have a plan sooner rather than later because
Yeah,
Spring's coming.
spring's coming.
right.
And you get into August and it's going to be really overgrown. So even just a skeleton of a plan, I think, should be developed. And a couple people volunteered. They said that they'd be willing to help out with the ad hoc committee to do planning.
Mhm.
And there is some equipment there that was left to the town, I believe, as far as if part of the lawn needs to be taken care of. So
Yep.
there's, and if we can get some volunteers, there's a possibility that we can get something done.
I know someone will.
Yeah. Upcoming trail walks. Now, I don't have the list in front of me, sadly. For those that have picked out months for walking, was there something in March?
I think that was you. Is that you?
Was it Frank or
I believe I had May. I believe that's what it was.
did Tom have March?
And Tom did have one before me, so he probably had March.
I'm trying to remember now.
Let's see.
Because he said he couldn't go on the 5 mile walk,
Right. Right.
so he must have had March, because that really was March.
Yeah, I think so. But we will continue our regular walks. And they will be announced on the Facebook page. An email will go out. We'll try to get blasts out on the Bethany Woodbridge list. Lauren, with her amazing ability to gather people and
Yeah,
communicate.
amazing.
So we'll probably get you to send a little
Sure.
blurb out for our next walk as well. The next walk will not be a regular meeting. It'll just be
I'll make sure
A walk.
it doesn't say that.
it'll just be a regular old walk. All right. Anything else that we want to talk about for trail walks? We're good? Okay. Next on the agenda is an update on the open space and watershed acquisition grant. This is from the state of Connecticut, and we were trying to get an application in. This is for the property at 1875 Litchfield Turnpike, also known as the Nugent property. It's at the base of West Rock. It's got deer trails running through it, and it could be a connector between town property and state property and add about a mile or 2 miles to our trail network. As we all know, there's been a lot of back and forth with the property owners, and it's a jointly owned piece of property, so getting a consensus is often difficult, which is what sunk us last year, and it sunk us again this year.
Oh,
The
really?
family couldn't get together on
There was not consensus on a price.
it? Okay.
Oh,
They
okay.
couldn't all agree on the price.
How far apart were they?
Betsy probably has the figure of how far apart they were from where we could be, but she says it was not even close.
So even within them, they couldn't agree, or it was they were
Within
here
them.
and we were here?
I think.
I think the consensus, if they had come to consensus, it was way beyond what we could have gone for.
I think they were looking for a lot more, a lot higher purchase price.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's what the problem was.
And so the saga continues. I think that probably the next step is to try and see if we can get some sort of written agreement or easement to pass through the property, so we could use the trails to connect the town property to the state West Rock property, since it's not looking as though it's going to
I
be.
think that's a good idea to see if we can work with Mr. Nugent on something like
Yeah.
that. Also, I think if we could speak to the family ahead of time before we and get some kind of a consensus on price before we actually get ready to make out do our grants. You know, if we can get a consensus on price ahead of time,
Yeah.
or if it's even close, or if they're willing to come down, but we have to negotiate ahead of time because we keep getting the estimates.
Yeah, and
the
that-
appraisals are expensive, so
And that's the other
before we
thing.
get the appraisals, I think we should speak to the family
Yep.
and be sure that they're on board if we approach them again.
Yeah.
And it's a good idea to do that, to see if we can get an easement. That would be just, it would help get our trails through, and that's really what we're looking for right now.
And it's been a long time that the town's been attempting to, and the state attempting to acquire this property. I actually got a whole bunch of documents from Mike Walter, Trail Master. He used to be on the Conservation Commission as well. And there is a folder that's at least as thick as this notebook of just back and forth and negotiations and appraisals of that exact parcel just 15 years ago. So it's going to be a difficult buy, so perhaps we should just take a step back and go for something a little easier and perhaps more approachable. And in the end, meet the same goal,
Yeah.
getting our trails extended. So that's the end of that trail grant, or our open space grant for now. We'll see if it comes up again in the fall, later this year. Obviously, state funding is always up in the air, and this is one of the programs that could get cut. So this may not be available come the fall, but we'll see.
Do you know whether it's on the chopping block?
It is on the chopping block because it does come through the Community Investment Act in the state, and that's one that's been on the chopping block, off the chopping block, reduced, kept at the same level, so it's all over the place right now. Okay, so next on the agenda is reviewing our open space plan. It used to be the 2016 open space plan, but we're now in 2017, so now we're going to call it the 2017 open space plan. And I feel like we're very close.
It's definitely going to be 2017.
Oh, definitely 2017. Not 2018. 2017.
There we go.
What I would like to do is, I think we've talked through a lot of these sections to death already, but I do want to just hit them one by one and just to see if there's any new discussion for each one. So I have it on the computer. I didn't print a copy for everybody, though it had been circulated numerous times over the past 7 or 8 months. And the latest revision, I highlighted the changes that had been made. So everyone's comfortable on the introduction. It's language lifted pretty much word for word from the prior 2003 open space plan.
You took out harmonious human growth.
I did. The harmonious human growth became...
I like the way you revised it.
The section on the definition of open space, again, predominantly lifted just from prior iterations of the document. The section on classification of open space. This is literally lifted word for word from the Plan of Conservation and Development. It was originally developed by the Conservation Commission and the Commission on Public Use, the Commission on the Use of Publicly Owned Property, to be put into the POCD, so I felt justified in just taking what we had already done and put it into our own document. And after that section, we get to the goals of the open space plan. You might recall in prior meeting, this used to be called objectives of the open space plan, and really they were goals. So we kind of swapped the language around. But all the bullet points, the numeric points in here, remain the same. Those haven't changed. And now we get to a section that had changed since the last review we did as a group, the open space objectives. And these are the difference between a goal and an objective. Is a goal is a higher, lofty ambition, and an objective is something with a definitive...
That we can measure.
Yeah, we can measure it, we can define it, we can have an end point. It's very clear is what we need to accomplish. So we have a section for property classifications, ratings, and identification. That hasn't changed. Develop use designations of open space. This is one that I had put in based upon previous discussions we had here. We did have a whole section on use designations. So where they had Class A, Class B, Class C. It became too difficult for us to hash out and get into this
Yeah,
document.
it was.
So this is one that we'll kick out as an objective and work with other commissions, QPOP, REC, should probably be involved in the discussions, maybe even zoning, but it seemed appropriate to put it in here. Does everyone agree with
I agree,
that?
yeah, I agree with that.
The ambitious open space management plan. This was here before. We've actually had a presentation by Louisa Cunningham, who put actually a good, stake in the ground about what an open space management plan could be. She was focused on Fitzgerald, right? And I thought her presentation and write-up was pretty good. So when it comes time to work on that objective, I think we should reflect
We should
back
consult
on
her
that.
when it's time. because
Yeah, we
she's-
should
she's
definitely
really knowledgeable
reflect back
about-
on her
about
work.
that.
Yeah. Review properties worthy of acquisition. I added this one in just in case it was not clear. Later in this document, it mentions that we need to go and review properties worthy of acquisition, but I felt like it was worth repeating ourselves. Putting it up here in as an objective so that, make it clear that we need to go back and review them. They're listed in this document, but we don't have proper supporting evidence of why they're in the list. So there's reasons they're there, but we've lost that backup documentation and we need to recreate it.
The language is a has been lost and needs to be recreated.
Has been.
And then I know I was the one that said let's not be nitpicky, but do we need to always have open space capitalized? Like sometimes open space is capitalized, sometimes open's capitalized, space isn't. Like, do we care if it's, what's that word, consistent?
Consistent, I would agree with. We want it to be consistent.
So like develop use designations of open space is capitalized, and under that open space management plan, space is not capitalized, but maybe it doesn't matter.
I also have a pet peeve about capitalizing every letter in a title.
Yes.
Okay, well then,
So, yes. I agree. Consistency. So we'll...
okay, and then sometimes it says, sorry.
No, keep going. This is why we're talking about it.
Such as the Commission on the Use of Publicly Owned Properties. Okay, and then below, Commission on the Use of Publicly Owned Properties. I personally, I mean, truthfully, I'm not sure which one is right. Publicly, the first one?
Commission on the use of publicly owned properties.
Properties or property.
Yes, but one is spelled C-A-L-L.
Oh,
It's the first one. right?
Yeah, I thought the first one.
Microsoft Word thinks both of them are
Well,
correct.
okay,
So
so,
how about that? But we'll be consistent.
okay.
Because we want to be consistent.
I like consistency.
Thank you. It's okay to nitpick. That's why we're
All
doing
right,
this.
well, okay.
All right. So yeah, if you find more,
Okay.
call them out. Let's see, Fitzgerald Property Protection. This was one that's carrying over from the 2003 Open Space Plan. Developing of, that's just awkward, isn't it? Developing of trails through existing golf courses. Obviously, when the 03 Open Space Plan was written, we didn't own the country club. Now we
Right.
do.
Right.
So developing a trail through there is not so much of a challenge. But there are other golf courses in the area that could provide a connection between trail networks. So I'm okay keeping that in there if everybody else is.
Okay.
And recreation near Town Hall and Rice Pond. This is right down the hill from us,
You've saved your
Yeah,
life.
no.
where the ball fields and the tennis courts are.
How would we reclaim Rice's Pond? Put the dam back? Is that the deal? I think the reason it's gone is because the dam is gone. Is that correct?
Yes.
That what
yeah.
happened there?
This one is also a carryover, so it's foggy to me of what the original intent on this was.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was, because the dam got washed out years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
In one of the floods, so.
Okay.
Okay, I was just gonna.
Well, if you weren't 15 feet back, you don't.
And the last item in here is Greenway extensions. This talks about extending the Woodbridge Greenway wherever we can. I think that's sort of That's borderline objective to goal.
Right.
Um, but I think it's fair just to leave it in.
Sure.
All right, the next section is greenways, because now there's two of them mentioned in this document. The first one is the Woodbridge Greenway. And again, the references and the language comes mostly from the prior document. This time we included a map of the town with the color-coded trails. And now we have a section on the West River Watershed Greenway. And Frank had originally put together some language for that, and there's been some other edits into it, and this is where I think, Tracy, you had some questions and comments to go through.
Yeah, I'd made a bunch of edits, but it was just kind of nothing substantive, just, capitals like she was saying, and, tightening the language, and, I don't know.
So you did have a good, so there's a sentence in here, the West River Greenway is defined as, quote, corridor of open space located along a defining natural feature such as waterway.
But I was wondering where that
And the
definition,
quarter.
I put in the quotes, because it had said it is defined as, but I was wondering where that definition came from.
Frank, do you remember? I think that might come from state.
It's a state, it's the defined greenway that the state uses.
So
That's how
maybe it's
that-
not the West River Greenway, we should say a greenway is defined as, or the West River Greenway is a greenway
As defined.
as defined, or,
I almost want to say it's defined by the state of Connecticut as, and then leave that quoted.
the rest of it is defined by this, sure. Well, any greenway is defined as that, though.
Yeah.
Well, that's just the definition of a greenway, so, I mean, I
Greenway,
just
comma,
thought it.
as defined by, if you want it, it's still, we don't have to, be done with this tonight, right? I can,
Would you like to wordsmith that a little more?
yeah, I don't like it.
Okay. It's a little awkward. All right. And no, we're not
All right.
making final motions on this tonight,
Okay.
although I feel like we're very close.
And then Department of Transportation has been contacted. Who contacted them?
I did.
By the Woodbridge, by the Conservation Commission? So
No, by the West River Watershed Coalition. Through the West River Watershed Coalition, yeah. And then we talked about doing some
So,
improvements.
Trace,
to
it says
this.
that right before, the West River Watershed Coalition is working with the New
The
Haven.
Parks Department.
Yeah.
But this is the
Yeah,
Connecticut
so
Department of
that's all
Transportation.
related to the West River Watershed
I should
Coalition.
say they're also in contact. They are also working with the Connecticut Department of Transportation.
So
Even if also goes before Connecticut, also Connecticut DOT has been contacted concerning, right?
So putting those two paragraphs back together.
Yeah, I just type.
I don't, this isn't I edited it, but
All right,
it's not
I'll
on
send you
this.
something. I understand.
As long as you got the idea of what we're
I'll
trying
just
to
do it.
express, I think
Yeah.
we can probably make those edits outside the meeting.
Yeah.
Um,
I didn't know what pervious stone dust is. That
That is a thing. That is a legitimate.
It's pervious stone, which
I
means
looked it up.
stone dust, which means
Yeah,
that
I learned a
it
lot.
would, rather than being a impervious like a sidewalk was impervious,
Yeah.
pervious would be more
Drainable.
environmentally
Yeah,
Yeah.
friendly because the water would more or less be absorbed better
yeah.
Okay.
than
'Cause I
being
knew-
washed into the river.
Yeah.
So that's why we request it pervious stone dust.
Yep. You can think
Okay.
of pervious stone dust as the walking trail around the
Yeah,
Fitzgerald
something of
Cornfield.
that sort.
That's
yeah.
much like
More,
pervious stone
gravel,
dust.
gravel
Okay.
type of something that would
It's
absorb water rather
environmentally
than
friendly
pass
as
water
opposed
into
to
the river,
asphalt.
which would be
Gotcha.
environmentally
okay, so
more
I looked it up, that's how I.
favorable.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it can pack down and hold water, but it
Yeah,
it
but
will
the
eventually
idea is
drain.
it's better than cement. Cement
Yeah.
is just
Okay. This trail, you needed a comma either before or after north, but I wasn't sure what it was trying to say. Like, is it West River North, like as West River North is the area of the river, or West River, comma, north of?
I'm gonna add Frank.
Along the Pomeroy Nature and the West River. North to Mount Lily. Oh yeah, well the Greenway Trail would follow the river north.
Okay.
So it's a direction, not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
from the
Name.
nature preserve, which
Okay.
is south of it. It would come north toward the town line, the Woodbridge town line.
Okay,
Does that help?
yes.
Okay.
And then I didn't know what the
And
drainage.
trails from the Woodbridge Greenway could eventually connect at that point.
Yep. Thank you. I didn't know what the drainage is.
So the next paragraph,
Yeah.
complete Greenway Trail would then follow the West River from the drainage in rural Bethany and Woodbridge through Woodbridge Village. I'm gonna guess that's just a general term of how the river starts.
Yeah, where it begins. It would be the drainage it begins up in Bethany. And some of it's
The origin.
some of it's fed by springs in Woodbridge. Actually, that's some of the drainage.
The headwaters.
Yeah, headwaters. more or less.
Although it's not, that sounds so grand
All
and
right.
big, but
Maybe
not,
most people would understand that.
I think,
The drainage, yeah.
I think so.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Showing my cluelessness. And then, does anyone know where Woodbridge Village is or what it is?
That's the development down in over by West Rock.
Yep.
It was the big development that they were gonna pie in the sky vision of. It's near Bradley Road
Yeah.
and
Behind Walgreens, pretty much.
oh, down there is the village.
Are you talking about the?
I was thinking the village.
Oh no, the
Like
Woodbridge
near
Village
the
is
Yarn
actually
Farm.
before that. The Woodbridge Village is actually
Where the play date
um,
used to be.
by Lucy Street.
Right.
Bottom of
behind
Liberty
Bradley
Hill.
Road, I
Field.
thought. Yeah.
You mean
Bottom
West
of Liberty
River?
Hill.
No, no.
So I mean, we're calling it that, but it's not really an entity, I guess, is what I'm
Not
saying.
yet,
So
but-
it seems like you know,
Oh,
we
you mean
shouldn't
the
use that
Woodbridge
name
Village?
if it doesn't
Yeah.
even exist.
Okay.
I'm definitely a fan of addresses because they
Yeah.
have a little more specific designation. But through
Well, we can just say the name of the street.
through.
Yeah, and where to,
Under the bridge to the Merrick? You mean like,
Yeah.
You could say
Yeah.
southeastern
Before that.
Woodbridge, southeastern Woodbridge. You want to do that? Change it to southeastern Woodbridge. That's the southeastern part of town.
So is it over by Parates? Is it over by the Bradley
No, it's-
Road? Is
it's
it?
across from
The Woodbridge Flats.
Yeah, it's where the gas station's being rebuilt.
Oh, it's that.
That's the intent. I
Yeah,
think.
because that's where the Greenway goes, so,
Mhm.
right?
I don't know. I've heard different things, so
yeah.
and I don't think any.
I've also heard different things.
Yeah. Okay. So, but because of all this ambiguity, I think we need an address.
But there's a map, so,
Well,
yeah.
The map is next.
I tried to find. Yeah, the map comes next, and the map does show, watersheds and hydrology maps with roads marked on them.
So you could refer to that, just refer to it.
Yeah. Refer to. No,
Um, I do know what you're trying to get at, though,
yeah.
with some clear language of that one section. Well,
Can we refer more broadly to that area of town? We don't really have a downtown Woodbridge, do we?
no.
Well, they
it's not-
call this
There's,
part
I mean, is this
town center.
the Bradley Road area, but
It sounds nicer to say Woodbridge Village.
It does, but it doesn't mean anything.
But didn't they have that whole plan? Remember that?
Along Route 63 or abutting Route 63? If that's
Actually,
where
it's
you
along,
are.
it
Or
is along Route
67, abutting
63.
Route
You could
60
just
or
go
67?
along Route 63.
Is
Yeah.
it 63 or 67?
Into Westville Village, yeah, to southeastern,
Litchfield
along
Turnpike.
63 to
So
southeastern
67.
Woodbridge, or the Woodbridge Flats, you could do, it's the Woodbridge Flats.
That doesn't sound.
I know a lot
I-
of people don't
I like
like that
Litchfield
term,
Turnpike.
but that's what it
Litchfield,
is.
And if they
a
have budding
street
at
address
67,
is fine.
Litchfield Turnpike.
Litchfield Turnpike. I
Yeah.
like that better.
Litchfield Turnpike, great.
You like it's a little more,
It's a little more,
yeah, small county.
yeah.
Gotcha.
You guys picked a long meeting to sit through. Some of us were done at 8.
And some of us go till 9
And
o'clock, so.
sometimes we're not.
Okay.
That
was all my comments.
all right. Any other comments on the
No,
West?
I made
River
mine,
Green?
but they didn't come up on my thing, but they probably come up on yours.
No.
I hope. They didn't come up?
Mm-mm.
The what?
I didn't
My
see
edits
any.
didn't come up?
Wait,
I figured you just did them without tracking it, so that's what
Right.
I did too. I just did mine without tracking.
Oh, okay.
But I
yeah,
didn't
you just
see any.
edited the
Oh, I'm
document
sure that-
directly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Didn't
We're
have
good.
yours.
okay.
Jesus.
But I mean,
Okay.
fine,
You wanna
great.
See.
Continue.
This
we'll have one more
as
chance to
edited.
Okay, because,
review. Tracy's gonna make some edits.
okay.
Yeah.
So funding, oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, no, I'm with you. I was about to say.
So,
The se-
again, open space, space is not capitalized. I don't know if we care.
Yeah, we'll be consistent.
Okay,
And I will probably settle on a lowercase.
okay.
So the section on funding, this is again fairly static. Nothing's changed since our prior discussions. And we're moving right along. Properties worthy of acquisition. This, I'm pretty sure I have not changed this since we last discussed it. It's certainly not what I would consider an ideal listing, especially for some properties. The reasons for acquisition is blank.
Yes, I had that in my notes to ask.
Sounds okay.
Sometimes that's blank and sometimes reasons are blank.
Yeah.
And sometimes, yeah.
I'm inclined to leave them blank.
Okay, fine.
Just leave them there
Okay.
as a placeholder. The language here is literally lifted from the 03 plan. It's just broken
Okay.
into the two sections, the notable features and reasons for acquisition.
Yeah, I think it's better to leave things instead of just taking things out.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Although I need to fix spelling, apparently that's misspelled there. Okay. Any other comments on the properties worthy of acquisition section?
Well, the challenging thing is that not all of them have the addresses, so even if you wanted to go and follow up, you don't know what the address is. I mean, you don't
Oh.
know what the, yeah, you don't know what the address is, if you only have the name of the people.
Yeah, we do have now addresses for most. I think the only ones that don't have addresses are the more generic ones, such as Water Authority land. That's a big. And then there was a utility, right?
And so here there would be water company.
Yeah. Those are the only two that we ended up not having addresses for.
Bless you.
Bless you.
But they're fairly distinct. If we were to look at,
Bless you.
Better in the
hang on
meeting.
there, Julie.
I'm fine, really.
And the last part of this document is current land holdings. This section used to be much longer. It used to include listings of utilities, listings of land trust,
Oh, here.
listings of Parks Association,
There's no,
asset notes.
yeah.
But it seemed more reasonable just to list what the town had in our open space plan. Would anybody like to see the return of land trust properties, Parks Association properties, EL properties, City of New Haven properties,
I mean,
state
that
properties?
could be another, I mean, not now, but another, you know, a
An
big.
appendix of some
Yeah,
sort.
some kind of a, right,
Agreed.
separate,
I think it's worth having the information, but separate.
yes.
Yes.
So you think that should be in a separate section?
Yeah.
completely?
Yeah, like an
No,
appendix,
not on this.
maybe.
On this?
An appendix? like-
Yeah, or, okay, yeah.
Or you mean a whole completely different document?
Yeah, like, so something else, like everything could be together,
The other property document.
the other
The
property.
next one.
I will say that I hope that this document, open space plan, is updated more frequently than once every 14 years. So that's another opportunity to increase the listings. You know, the 2018 open space plan could have listings, more listings,
Okay.
if so desired. All right. So, Tracy, you'll do some wordsmithing on the land.
Yes.
On the section for the watershed
Next
for
week.
Greenway. Okay.
Oh,
But-
that's good,
but-
26 of 26.
But otherwise, we're,
Forgot to write that down.
I think, on track to
I think so.
hopefully
Good.
approve it at our next
Right.
meeting.
Next
All
meeting we
right,
can do
wow,
it.
look at that.
My gosh.
I know.
Great.
It's almost breathtaking.
You could applaud.
the Critical accomplishment.
I'm kidding, guys. Thank you. Good
All right.
sports. They need to do something to board.
Well,
Get the blood flowing.
And you can applause one more time in just a minute.
Thank you.
No, not yet, not yet, not yet,
They
not yet.
have to stretch.
The last item on the agenda,
Oh, last item,
don't forget,
There's always one more.
Chairman's
Chairman's
report.
report.
chairman's report.
I only have one thing to report. Well, actually, yeah, one thing. And that is Saturday, March 18th is the Connecticut Land Conservation Council's annual conference at Wesleyan. And I will circulate the info to everybody. It's a full day conference, really good sessions there. One year I went and it snowed horribly, so that was exciting too. But it was a fantastic conference, and if I ever have the opportunity to go again, I will. I'm hoping you guys can make it too.
Thank you.
Where is it?
Wesleyan.
And Middletown.
Oh, Middletown.
Yep. We could even carpool. How about?
Conservation.
That's right,
right.
conservation. You're driving my little Prius. All right, that is all. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Oh, okay.
Motion.
To adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now you can call.
We got one.
Yay!
Now you go. Thank you for joining
Thank you
us.
for coming. Do you have a question?
Any questions?
You guys all look pretty famous. Can I like get a picture with all of you?
You're very
We're
cute.
very famous. Sure, someone can hold your phone.
Almost famous.
Okay.
Almost
Okay,
famous.
no problem.